So Honor 6X was and currently is one of the most successful devices to be ever launched by the company Huawei Honor in India. Trust me, I've seen a lot of friends buying this device, keeping the known brands aside. Because Honor 6X was capable of creating a successful transition of a perfect mid-range device in the mind of many. Fast forwarding to that, in the coming days, Huawei Honor wants to keep that pace moving by the introduction of the new deity, the Honor 7X. Sniffed with the trends that transcended 2017, could this be a worthy upgrade to its predecessor? Well, let's find out. So guys and girls, I'm Prateek, you're on the next Thinkerz channel, and today let's unbox the Honor 7X, shall we? So this reviewer's box was given to us by Honor. Therefore, without going ahead, I would first and foremost mention that this is not the final retail packaging of the Honor 7X. Therefore, your unboxing experience might vary, but nevertheless the device is going to be the exact same. So the first thing inside the box is the Honor 7X itself, whereas there's another small box present inside which houses the charger and a micro USB cable. The charger present inside the box seems pretty good in terms of build quality, while it has a power rating of 2 amps. So don't expect to have fast charging speeds given the fact that it still houses a micro USB 2.0 port. On the other side, the USB cable present inside the box is quite thick, rigid and made of a good quality material. It won't bend easily. While here's the showstopper, the brand new Honor 7X in all its flesh. My initial impressions on it. The device feels like a charm, and that 18:9 aspect ratio, it's a devil in its own. I actually got quite excited when I received this box, which is the reason why I already had set up the device before shooting this video. So whatever you hear in this video is based upon my 24 hours of usage. Let's start with the physical aspects of the Honor 7X. On the front is the 2017-ish upgrade. A 5.9-inch Full HD Plus display, which is a LTPS IPS LCD panel housing an 18:9 aspect ratio with a slight bump in resolution. On the top is the front 8-megapixel shooter, besides the earpiece and a notification LED. While on the bottom there is the Honor branding, and there are no physical keys present, same as that of the Honor 7X, pretty sweet. Flipping to the bottom, you can find a 3.5mm audio jack, a micro USB 2.0 port. Sad that this still exists in 2017, wish we had a Type-C port here. Anyways, next is the primary microphone, and lastly there's stereo speakers. Switching on to the left, you can find the hybrid SIM slot, which can either take 2 SIM cards or a combination of single SIM card and a micro SD card. However, if you have opted for the 128GB variant, you would get to use 2 SIM cards in that case, since storage won't be a problem. Switching on to the top, you can find the secondary microphone. Whereas on the right, you can find the volume rockers and sleep wake key. Both these buttons are mushy, but they provide a solid feedback. Finally, on the back you can find the dual lens setup, 16-megapixel primary and 2-megapixel secondary. We'll talk about this in detail in its section. Besides the camera lens is a single LED flash, whereas below is the fingerprint scanner, which is damn quick for the price. Lastly, you can find the Honor branding on the bottom, followed by the antenna lines. So that just sums it up for the physical overview. Now let's set up the device. The first thing you would point out is that Full HD Plus display panel seems gorgeous. Such a sick upgrade from Honor 6X is always a pretty welcome change. The UI is almost the same with some changes here and there. I've opted for the app drawer in the settings option because I think that it feels a lot cleaner to navigate across a plethora of apps. Heading into the settings, you can see that it runs on EMUI 5.1, which is based on Android 7.0 Nougat. While below are some of the specs listed about the Honor 7X. Whereas for your consideration, the specifications would be mentioned in the description box below. Now let's navigate through the settings menu. Under display tab, you can find several settings such as changing the color of the screen tint. One of my favorite one is changing the color temperature. You can set it between warm or cold temperatures or select your own form from the variety of color gamut present. Notification and status bar lets you customize the notification LED and several other small things. Navigation tab lets you change the software keys according to the presets provided in the tray. Fingerprint ID tab houses a plethora of settings. For example, you can perform a swipe down gesture on the fingerprint scanner to pull down the notification sheet. It's one of the key signature software implementations of the company. Similarly, swiping left or right lets you shuffle between the photos in the gallery app. Speaking about accuracy, it's freaking fast. On paper, it unlocks under 0.2 seconds. It actually gives OnePlus 5 a tough competition in this department. I'm thoroughly impressed by Honor 7X's fingerprint scanner. Here's a little rundown of the same. Smart Assistants tab also houses several settings such as floating dock, which lets you create a short bubble for easier navigation. One-handed user interface mode is also easily accessible. Whereas for some ungodly reason, one cannot log in or create an account in Huawei ID, which is quite interesting. If you head over into storage, you can see that out of 64 GB, 12.51 GB is utilized for the firmware, whereas about 2 GB RAM is free out of the 4 GB RAM, when not much is running in the background. Battery section also houses different varying modes for getting the most of your device. The battery life on this device is damn good. It gives me almost 6 hours of screen on time on moderate usage, whereas about 1.5 to 2 days of battery backup depending upon light usage. However, charging it is a complete mess. It almost takes 3 hours. App Twin is another feature which lets you duplicate apps, so you can make 2 WhatsApp accounts in one device. Glad to see that this feature is baked right into the OS. Double tapping on the screen to wake or sleep the display is also an interesting addition to its arsenal. Whereas you can also see the screen wallpapers changing in the background, these are all seeded and cached depending upon your internet connection. Overall, the UI feels pretty snappy and I didn't observe any necessary lag in my initial usage. Although by the time this video is out, I might have completed about 2 weeks with this device. So expect a complete, dedicated, in-depth review dropping shortly. Until then, you can share your questions or concerns about this device in the comments section below. Now let's head over to another headlining feature of the Honor 7X, probably the highlighting feature of this series which started from its predecessor. The first thing that would strike your mind is damn, those cameras look a little bit weird. The primary lens is a 16 megapixel shooter, while secondary is a 2 megapixel shooter. The dual lens combo has the same aperture, so technically I'm still wondering how the camera maps the depth of field. But we'll touch base on that later in the review when that comes out. The viewfinder is more or less the same to that seen on the Honor 6X. There are a number of modes available from Pro Photo, Night Shot, Time Lapse, Slow-Mo, and for the first time, there's also a Pro Video mode. The highest resolution you can click a picture is at 16 megapixel, while here the settings tab also has some of its own perks. In the video side, the maximum you can shoot at is 1080p at 30 fps, pretty mellow. However, talking about something new, there is a wide aperture mode, portrait mode, moving picture mode, which are rather added as an implementation and seem quite decent. While the embargo holds me back from speaking a lot about the camera, I'll reserve my judgment until the final review. So make sure you're subscribed. But to this point, I have not found this camera to be impressive enough for the mid-range pricing segment. You will know why I said that in my review in the near future. Switching sides onto the front, it's pretty good. The portrait mode is available here on the front camera too, which is rather a software gimmick. In this scenario, my face is well lit, which is why you might consider that it's good. But I'll link few camera samples in the description box below so that you could judge it for yourselves. Display. Man, is this thing gorgeous. And it's possibly going to be one of the best selling points of the Honor 7X, because videos look stunning on this and the display is pretty good, colors are accurate and it feels vibrant. At first it might seem a little washed out, but once you dig down into settings and tweak it up as per your likes, you're all set to go. Even though most apps run properly fine, there are some which are not compatible with the 18:9 aspect ratio, which is why they might force stop or crash when accessed in full screen mode. Again, this is an issue on the app developer's end and not on the Honor's end. I'll share the benchmarks of this device in my full review, so stay tuned. So after all that, what are my initial impressions about this device? Well, Honor has made a worthy upgrade from 6X to 7X, and this is surely going to help them go toe to toe with the mid-range market segment. Soon you can definitely expect videos from the internet comparing it with MI A1 and Moto G5 Plus. Again, I will mention that you should wait for my final review, which will be live by next weekend. Honor is going to launch this device on 5th of December and my prediction for the price is between 15k to 17k. What are your predictions on the same? Do you have any questions in specific? Let me know in the comments section below. Whereas if you have made it till the end, hit that red subscribe button besides smashing that like button so that we will meet again in my next video.